Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Body Slam the Competition. And this week, myself, Mike, and Mr. KJ Pets alone without that ratings anchor, Chris Adams.
I heard he's trying to get some hair plugs. I don't know what that's all about. I heard he wants to be the second coming of Demolition. So
he wants to get some hair plugs. That's going to be a lot of damn hair plugs. There's a lot of chrome on that dome. You know what I'm saying, KJ?
Oh yeah, man.
So
he
we're gonna. So this is a pretty episode because you and I, we're the best looking things this show's ever had.
Of course. What are you gonna do? You know, we're modest people though. We're very modest people.
Very, very modest. Devilishly handsome, but very modest.
Well
tonight
lies to me every day. Go ahead.
That's true. But tonight, KJ, we got something special for our listeners. We're going to be having a sort of rebuttal to our esteemed colleague Chris and his special guest Douglas O'Shea's show a little while ago about how they just think Chris Benoit should be in the WWE Hall of Fame. Golly gee whiz, Wally, he wasn't such a bad guy. He just murdered his wife and kid.
Well, hey, man, hey, some guys, they got their chicks, and, he just had one big pick.
At least David Carradine had the common human decency to keep his autoerotic asphyxiation fantasies to himself. So he was the only one hurt. Oh no, not Benoit. He's got to asphyxiate everybody and then go hang himself. What a dick.
Oh man. Well, at least he got a workout in before he did.
That's true. And he got right with Jesus. They had all them Bibles,
So he got real right with Jesus.
He said, "I'm going to send you two up. I hope it gets me a discount entrance."
Exactly. Maybe perhaps he'll skip 5 in line.
So I'm going to tell you, KJ, this is the thing that gets me every year about this time. All the internet wrestling community hustles and bustles. Chris Benoit should be in the Hall of Fame. Oh, he was such a great performer. What he did in his personal life doesn't really matter because he was like the greatest wrestler ever because I don't remember Lou says because I'm like 14.
You sound like every smart that is 13 years old and under.
I'm telling you what.
Or 35.
Yeah. They're going to be like going to that, what's that newfangled music, that New Direction or One Direction or whatever the fuck it is. That crap that I can't stand. The Wrong Direction. Yeah, the Wrong Direction.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. So let's kick it off. Here's the thing. Let me preface by saying that Benoit is definitely one of my favorites. He'd honestly be on my Mount Rushmore. That's how highly I think of his skills. His skills and him as a performer. What people fail to realize, he will not be in the Hall of Fame. Why? Because he almost single-handedly destroyed pro wrestling. Easily, hands down. He changed the landscape. He changed what people thought. And regardless of what people say, it doesn't matter what his work does. It doesn't matter. They're never going to put him in. If they put him in, I will fall over dead myself because there's no way somebody's going to overlook that. You're going to get a mixed bag. You're going to have people booing. You don't realize all of this. So you're going to have people booing. Some are going to go yay. Some are going to go nay. They really don't want that. That's not the kind of vibe that they would want, and I wouldn't want my dad in the Hall of Fame if he did what he did. It's bad business. But that's how I feel so far about the situation.
Well, and I don't get. This is what I don't get. I don't see how Benoit was so great. Yeah, he was a good wrestler. Was he Lou Thez? Hell no. Was he? What did he done that hadn't been done before? What did he do that was just so spectacular?
Well, for me, he was kind of like, I'm not gonna lie, he was kind of like a Dynamite Kid. He wrestled just like Dynamite Kid to a certain degree. I just thought he was somebody that was really brutal. He wrestled stiff without being super stiff. He never really hurt guys. He made you believe that when you're coming down to the ring, holy fuck, I got Chris Benoit. You're not beating, you're unless you were like maybe Brock Lesnar, and even then, you're in for it. Like, you know, kayfabe obviously, but you're in for it. When you heard his theme song, which is one of the best theme songs, you're like, oh shit, Benoit's in this, and that's it. And that's what I loved about Benoit. Plus, he's a small guy in Atlanta Giants, and everybody knew what the crippler crossface was, and he, made many people tap. I just loved the way he wrestled, and I loved his veracity. I loved his just that when they say rabid Wolverine, that's who it was fitting. So for me, and he was a technically good wrestler. In fact, Kurt Angle went on to say that I just watched recently that Chris Benoit was the best wrestler that he was the best. He was the best. And when Kurt Angle says that, that's something, because Kurt Angle probably is the best pure wrestler they have in all of wrestling. I don't think there's anybody better than he was. So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hey, it's okay. We don't have to worry about Chris tonight. We can talk, and we can express ourselves, because we don't have, Big Ego, Baldo the Magnificent in here. I'm the leader.
Oh, wow.
No, we don't have that tonight. It's just you and me, an intimate conversation about a taboo subject.
Yes, very, very intimate. I can feel the candlelight. He actually is the one that keeps us in control, so I can't really
That's true. That's true.
Just serenade me with some Anne Murray. Anyway, but go ahead.
Okay, so I don't know. Did you ever have the opportunity to see Chris Benoit wrestle live?
No. I saw a couple of WCW events, and one I lost the ticket to right before I was supposed to go, which I'm for.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is how much a WCW ticket costs. KJ lost one and didn't really care.
I was freaking out. It was Thunder. It was Thursday Night Thunder, and I wanted to go, and I was pissed because then I saw because it's a live event. I saw what happened, and I was angry, and I think he was on. He might not even have been. No, I think by that time he was gone. I don't know. I don't remember the timeline.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
KJ.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
What you said about Benoit and the feel that you got when that music hit and when he came to the ring. Benoit on television, yes. I got an opportunity to see Chris Benoit at a live house show in Huntington, West Virginia. His music hit. We were 3 rows back from the front ringside, and the entrance ramp was to our right. Mm-hmm. We were 2 chairs from the end of the room. There were only about 2 rows of people in front of us to where we could see down the entrance ramp. When his music hit, all you saw was the top of his hair coming down the entrance ramp. This is how extremely short Chris Benoit really was.
Yeah,
and then when he finally made his way to where you could see him, I looked at my wife and I said, he's smaller than Rey Mysterio. Not just in stature. He really looked smaller. His physique looked smaller. He looked very diminutive. And it was extremely it changed my perspective on Chris Benoit as a wrestler, because he looked better on television than he did in person. When they say the TV adds like 5 pounds, it added like 5 inches to Chris Benoit's height. And it made him look so much. It's funny because when you see these people live, when you see these guys live, you get this look at them that you don't normally get. And some guys surprise you in the way they look. Like, and Chris Benoit was one of those guys. I didn't think he was going to be a big, massive dude, but I expected him to be more impressive than what he was.
Okay, fair enough. I just see him every time I saw his back. I thought he had one of the biggest backs I've ever seen in my life. He was just cut the way he was cut, which was insane. So maybe, but me personally, like, whether or not, like, I didn't go to a lot of live events. I'm actually going to Raw at the end of the month, which is unfortunately going to be a shit show because it's the Raw before WrestleMania. At any rate.
Oh, so basically you're just going to the WrestleMania pre-show.
Yeah, exactly. Which is fine because as long as we get to see people, I don't know, whatever. I'm going with my son. But anyway, that's beside the point. I never really went to a lot of live events. So I never really got to see him. I got to see Flair. I got to see Bam Bam Bigelow. I got to see Perry Saturn. I got to see...
we all know your love affair with Bam Bam.
Fuck Bam Bam. Anyway,
here we are, back off of the bunny trail.
Yeah, exactly. I apologize.
So let's dial it back a minute and talk about why absolutely Chris Benoit should not be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, the biggest reason is the double murder-suicide and what that meant for professional wrestling. It hasn't been the same since that day. Well, I won't say since that day, but since they found out exactly what happened.
Yeah.
It changed. Chairs to the head in the WWE are gone. Blading is gone. High-risk maneuvers are all but gone. I mean, we did see I don't know what Beef was attempting, if it was a Beef headbutt. I mean, I don't know what that was that we witnessed at Fastlane. But he looks like, but we don't get that anymore. Chain wrestling is all but gone, which I don't understand. But
yeah, that I don't get. I don't get it either. McMahon's never been about chain wrestling. I mean, let me put it this way: in the aggression. What is that? Where was the aggression? Ruthless aggression. With the ruthless aggression, I'm surprised he allowed half of the stuff he did. To be quite honest, I'm so shocked that that's an area like. Let me put it this way. The Attitude Era was an era of marketing. I mean, let's face it. He saw the writing on the wall. He saw that he was a visionary enough to see that things changed. And then, but by the time that Ruthless Aggression came around, like, that wasn't marketable. I would like to think that it wasn't really marketable because all the big guys, all the guys that were The Rock, Stone Cold, and everything else, they weren't as popular as they were. And it was more about Benoit and Kurt Angle and even like Big Show and Kane, but guys that were doing more physical extreme stuff, even with his son. But anyway, the point is, I don't think that's. I mean, it changed. I think the blading and the high spots and everything else, I think that had something to do with it because there was a lot of heat on him. But also, they're a publicly traded company, and they still don't want to go outside the realm of blood. So maybe a lot of it is Benoit, but a lot of it also is, it's kind of a half and half thing. But yeah, like, Benoit, I mean, those guys were killing each other. Benoit went above and beyond. I mean, you could say that about the Hardys. You could say that about everything. But the problem was, there's two schools. There's the conspiracy theory, and then there's,
Oh, you mean the wackos?
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I offend anyone, but I'm really not. But if you believe that anyone but Chris Benoit killed his family and himself you need to go and find the nearest mental health facility and check yourself in. Make sure that you give them your tinfoil hat because you're a fucking loon. And to say, the police didn't do their job.
Well, let me put it this way. Look, here's the deal. Number one, what would be the reason to kill Benoit? I can't think of any other reason to kill Benoit. The only person that would have a reason would be Kevin Sullivan, and why would he do that? That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
If he was going to kill him, he would have killed him when he stole his wife 18 years
whatever.
ago.
Yeah, whatever. You know, people wait. People wait. Hey, whatever.
People don't wait that long, KJ. I mean,
hey, it's called an opportunity. Yeah, but he's a taskmaster. Listen, he's a taskmaster, okay? And the taskmaster, he likes to take his time. Anyway.
Here comes Kevin Sullivan did it.
Yeah, I know. Look.
My name's Hank Hill, and I sell propane and propane accessories. And I believe that Kevin Sullivan killed Chris Benoit.
That was actually a dead-on impression. But anyway, listen, in my heart, do I want there to be a conspiracy? Unfortunately, yes, I do. My brain is telling me otherwise. Unfortunately, here's a guy who they say his brain was so fucked, so eroded, so everything, that he snapped. I think
call
he was
bullshit.
looking for help. What?
I call bullshit on that.
Okay.
Absolute bullshit.
So then, what would you suggest it is?
I've seen a lot of the CTE studies and what they're attributing to this. This took 3 days. He kills Nancy on Friday. Doesn't kill Daniel until was it the next day or the day after?
So then, what was it? So then, what is it? All I'm saying is, look.
There's all of these things. There's the thoughts of it's steroid related. It was roid rage. There's the thought that the marriage was failing and it was reported to have been failing. But like these guys that have the CTE, they have these problems, but they also have moments of clarity. And within that 3-day period, he should have had some sort of clarity, unless he was something just beyond what they have known before. But I mean, this was something that was planned out. Nancy Benoit was bound. Her limbs were tied together. He put a knee in her back and strangled her with a cord. This isn't off the wall rage. This is planned and calculated.
Yeah. But why? But still, it doesn't make sense to why. He may not have loved Nancy anymore, but he sure loved his son. Like, surely he did. He really was all about his son. That's the thing that disturbs me. That's the thing that throws things off. That's the thing that makes me go, what the hell happened? And we're never going to know. Never going to know. I mean, he hit up Booker T, hit him up because I think they were going to run a program. Hit him up, let him know that something about the dogs are out and they're in the yard or some bullshit like that. They're in the living room and everything was very, very weird. The text that he was given. Now, in Chris Jericho's book, he said like maybe a week before he killed them, he tried to get a hold. He gave a call to Benoit gave a call to Y2J, and Y2J was too late or whatever. He didn't know who it was. He didn't recognize the number. He didn't pick up. Then come to find out, he listened later, and then he called, and then it was kind of like, that game of tag, and he, to himself, he's like, I wonder if he was thinking about it and he just wanted to talk to me. Because he was never the same. People always say he was never the same after Eddie Guerrero. You have to understand, he also lost Owen Hart. So he loses Owen Hart, who's clearly one of his best friends, and then he goes and loses Eddie, like in the span of a few years. So now he's alone. He doesn't. Maybe he has Chris Jericho, but they obviously were two ships, passing in the night. They never really talked as much as they wanted to because he was on the road with him all the time. But Eddie was his best friend, and I actually watched when it was the tribute to Eddie, and he was sitting down, and he's trying his hardest to like not lose his mind, Chris Benoit, and then all of a sudden he just loses it. Like he tried and tried, and that was it. He lost it, and how do you expect a man to he crumbled? You could tell he crumbled, and he was never the same after that. And that, I believe, is one of the reasons why, he kind of went off the deep end. It was a slow progression.
I could believe that. I could believe that this was all depression. This was all 100% depression related.
Yeah.
His wife was going to leave him. And I know that you said, that he's all about his son. He's all about his son. But there's also reports that maybe he wasn't all about his son. His son had a genetic disorder called Fragile X. There are, the allegations that they were giving him growth hormones to try to increase his size, because that's one of the things of Fragile X is sometimes that they are undersized individuals. What if he, as in Benoit, was in denial? I have seen it personally with people that I know in my life that have children with special needs, and they deny instead of accepting it. And when they can't deny it anymore and it hits them in the face like a sack of bricks, they don't know how. They don't know how to cope with it, and they don't know how to handle it. Some of them up and leave. Some of them turn into alcoholics. I've never known any of them to do this, but none of them have ever had massive depression over losing, like you said, the majority of their closest friends, their wife leaving them, possible, obvious head trauma, and at least the physical manifestations of CTE as we know it today.
Yeah.
But he planned. That's what I'm getting. This just smells too planned out for me. This isn't Vern Gagne murdering that old man in the nursing home because Vern has Alzheimer's and is out of his head and thinks that poor old German guy is a Nazi or something and suplexes him through the damn table. I mean, Vern was 80-some years old and had no idea where the hell he was and didn't know what he did afterward. Benoit knew what the hell he did. He could have stopped himself from killing his son. He could have called the police and said, "Listen, I've murdered my wife. I've made a great mistake." If he had enough in his mind to call Chavo Guerrero multiple times between the murders and talk to him, that you can't tell me that this man doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. He just doesn't.
Well, here's another thing. No, you're right. I'm not going to argue that. I will say that there's another option and another theory, and that is that he knew after killing Nancy that they would take him away from they would take Daniel away from him, and in his mind, not saying it's rational, irrational, he kills him because he doesn't want him. Now there's nowhere for Daniel to go. And he'll be in the system, and they'll mistreat him. So what do? What does he do? He kills him. Again, not saying it's rational, just saying it's a theory. And I've heard that theory before, and that's not a stretch. That is definitely not a stretch. So, I don't know why. Again, Nancy, get it. I understand why he would kill Nancy. Get it, I understand. Not that I, say that I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying I understand why, the jilted lover, blah, 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 blah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the views of KJ Pets do not necessarily reflect the views and values of the rest of Body Slam the competition. We're sorry that he is such a dick.
Who's a dick? Shut up, stupid. Anyway, so no, but that's what I'm saying. Now, as far as we're talking about him going into the Hall of Fame, no. There are things like people are like, well, with OJ killed. We don't know if he killed, and he did kill. And unfortunately, we don't know. There it is. I was looking for it.
Yeah, they make the same comment about Snuka. Well,
yeah,
Snuka was already in the Hall of Fame, and we don't know if Jimmy Snuka really killed his girlfriend. Did he? Probably,
but we can't speculate that.
Right. We don't know that.
We can't. We don't know that. We don't. We know Benoit killed his family. Like,
yes, because we don't wear tinfoil hats.
Yeah. So again, like I said, my heart's like, please, and my head's like, stop. You know what I mean? And my gut's like, God damn it. You know what I mean?
Because when you think of Chris Benoit, it harkens back to those glory days of what I like to call the glory days of modern wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Those years of, WCW, the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era. Those were great times to be a wrestling fan. And Chris Benoit was one of those reasons. And that's why you and I both, I wish every day with everything that I have that he had never done that. That he had just went down to that weight machine and quietly hung himself if he was going to have to do something.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if he'd have done that, if he would have just done that, he would be in the Hall of Fame. Because that is not
easily, yeah.
That is not the taboo. The depression is not the taboo.
Mm-mm.
It's what he did with it that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, I make it no secret. I have bipolar disorder, depression, ADD, that whole thing. I would not murder my son. I would murder myself before I murdered anybody else, because that's not something you do. Like, I would be crushed. I'd be crushed. I would, I think about it all the time, about my son dying and everything like that. It's kind of, my little sick little thing. But that's what I'm saying is, now I'm not, look, we don't know what goes through a man or a woman, what goes through, what demons and stuff like that. I try not to judge people too harshly, regardless of the, depends on the person. But the thing is, I try not to judge people because I'm not in their situation. I don't know what situation it would take for me to justify, two people, innocent people dying. Don't get me wrong. But I don't. Obviously, he had to be in some serious pain to do the things he did. I don't think Benoit was an evil person. I just think he did evil things, and that's the sad part. That's the part that I can't. I'll never. That's a disconnect. That's something I still can't wrap my brain around, and I don't know if I'll ever wrap my brain around it. To be quite honest,
hope not.
The things he's
I hope
done.
not.
No, I hope not either. You know what I mean? I hope not.
Because
I understand you.
the point to where you understand it, that you have to be at that same point that he was.
Oh yeah.
Because it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. He did nothing but snuff out 2 innocent lives and his own, and he could have had life. He could have gotten help. I don't know how much help there is for the CTE brain damage that he has. but it didn't have to end like it did. It didn't have to be that way. He chose that. He made a conscious decision. Maybe not with Nancy, but definitely with Daniel. He made a conscious decision, and that right there is what makes me put him in the category of never, ever, ever. Yes, we should talk about him. Yes, you should be able to go see his matches on the network. They shouldn't pretend like he never existed. But they should talk about it. They should say, this is why we don't do this. This is why. But they don't want to. They want to pretend like it didn't happen. They want to pretend like nothing changed. And that's the part that upsets me the most. You're going to fundamentally change the thing that I love. The form of entertainment that I just that I've been obsessed with since a child. It's not the same. It's neutered. And he's why. He's the reason.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's one of those things where mommy and daddy should have sat the children in the room and explained the situation. And that was not done by the WWE.
No.
When you show people's content, like Hogan, they took Hogan's content off. It makes no sense. Yes, he had a racist thing, whatever. You're not celebrating the man. You're celebrating or you're showing his work, his body of work. That's what you're doing with Benoit. It's part of the history. What he's done is part of the history. And it's a slippery slope. I get it. By the same token, you're taking away the history of Chris Benoit. I can't believe in the encyclopedia that they had, like, let's say 2010, 2011, they had an encyclopedia of all the wrestlers in a book, and they actually had a spot, Chris Benoit. Now, I think that spot would have been bigger, probably be a whole page dedicated to him, but it was a nice spot. It had him, didn't say anything about death or anything like that. This was clearly after the fact of what he did, but they listed his accomplishments. They celebrated the character and not the man. You understand what I mean? Like, celebrate the character, do not celebrate the man. There is a difference, and that's it.
Well, and another thing I'd like to add before you continue is that by removing the content of people like Hogan and Chris Benoit, not only are they removing them, but they're removing the other people involved in that content. They're removing their opponents in matches, the commentators, the interviewers, anybody else that was involved. So not only are they lessening the history of those characters, but also all the characters associated with them at that time.
Absolutely. Like, you see these memes, which I thought was pretty funny when Hogan was taken off. Like, you see an invisible man, body slamming Andre, like, oh, look, Andre's going for a backflip or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, stupid stuff like that. But the thing is, especially with Hogan, how are you going to take WrestleMania 1, 2, 3, 4? You know what I mean? Like, you take away Hogan, you're taking away the first 6 or 7, maybe even 8 WrestleManias. You know what I mean? Like, you're taking away Rock versus Hogan 2. 1 and 2, like, you just, not that I think they're great matches, but like a lot of people at a young age cite that match was the reason why I watch pro wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, you're taking that away. You're taking that away. Same thing with Benoit.
Maybe they should, because that in itself is sad.
No,
Rock versus Hogan 2.
I know it was sad, but I'll tell you what, it was a shift. Because they booed Rock and went Hogan, and then Hogan stopped doing the NWO. Well, they style, but they did Hogan red and yellow, and people just loved him. You know, it was a. I remember the time they were just clapping and Hogan, and he couldn't get a word in edgewise for like 15 fucking minutes. But anyway, getting back to Benoit, you are absolutely right. You can't. You're punishing the wrong people. You're punishing the wrong person. You're punishing the in-ring performer. You can't punish the man who did all this because he's dead. You can't punish him. Who are you punishing? You know what I mean? Like, that's punishment. When you take that off, that's no, we're not going to celebrate. He's dead. He did a shitty thing. You're absolutely right. If he did, like, bombing, if he, like, bombed a village or something, then, yeah, take his... And I'm not belittling what he did or the magnitude of what happened. I'm just saying that you can't punish a dead man. You can't.
No.
And what in doing that, you're punishing the fans. And I don't care what anybody says. When it comes to the Hall of Fame, it's a different story. You can't do it. There's just too much controversy. There will not be controversy of Benoit being on the WWE Network. If you don't want to watch the WWE Network, you either cancel it or you don't watch things that involve him. There's plenty of content to where you can watch where Benoit's not a factor.
Oh yeah.
You understand what I mean? So there's plenty. But here's the thing. When it comes to the Hall of Fame, there is such a strong side. There's no middle ground. People either want him in the fame or they want him, away from the fame forever. There's no like I love Ray, but when he's sitting there saying, well, in a few years, don't worry about it. In a few years we'll see, and yada yada yada. And no. He should never go in. By the time that happens, he may go into like the post. I can never say the word. Where they put you in when you die, basically.
Oh, posthumous.
Yeah, you put him in that, but that's going to be years. Like, it's bad enough that Bruiser Brody is not going to have a Hall of Fame. He's never going to have a Hall of Fame induction. They're going to put him in with the rest of the classics, like they did with Hackenschmidt and Lou Thez and all the guys that have been dead for years. Like, Brody's been dead for almost 30 years. There's not going to be a Hall of Fame for him. It's just not. No. And that kills me. But, they're also not going to...
And you see, I don't think that it's just limited to the WWE either. I don't think you'll ever see Chris Benoit's name mentioned in any professional wrestling Hall of Fame. Not in the Cauliflower Alley Club, not PW or PW Insider. It's never going to be anywhere. He is going to be... He's like one of those Egyptian pharaohs that after they die and their successor comes around and tries to scratch their name off of everything and pretend like they never existed. That's how it's going to be. And people just have to accept it. They're just going to have to accept the fact that this man did something so egregious and so just overly evil. I don't think he was an evil man, but what he did was pure evil.
Well, if you have a child,
anyone that has a kid,
not necessarily
anybody that has a kid.
Not necessarily your wife, because, exes and everything like that. Who hasn't had that, little thing? But yeah, kids, like, you have a little kid, it's like game over. I didn't have Logan when Benoit died, but I think I would hold him close, tight, and I might even have cried, because that's a horrible, horrible thing to do. Like, I see things about child abuse. I see, things that happen. ISIS, does to kids, and it sickens my stomach. Because how can you do that?
Oh yeah. I mean, my day job is in the medical profession, and I've seen it. I've seen what happens when you shake a baby. Not just the immediate effects, but if they're unlucky enough to survive the shaking, what happens afterward? There's nothing like seeing a 6-year-old child that weighs 28 pounds that is blind, deaf, unable to communicate, and soils themselves. And if you have kids, you look at that child and you look at and you say, how could anybody be so evil? How could anybody do that? And it makes you, like you said, go home and hug your children and look at them and appreciate them. And then you want to find the person that did it and you want to shake them. But just to be able to have the mindset to murder your wife, wait a day, call your friends, tell them you love them, and then kill your son, fuck you, buddy. Sorry. If you're a Chris Benoit fan, you're not going to be a Mike Currence fan. Because you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make you cry. I'm going to tell you the cold, hard truth. And that is, this man was an evil piece of shit for those 3 days. He could have been the most saintly, Jesus-like man that ever walked the earth for every day before that. But for those 3 days, he was Satan himself. And there's no amount of excuse that you can give to steroid rage or head trauma or brain damage when you have enough clarity to call the people that you call friends and send them text messages and tell them that you love them and lie about your wife and your son and say that they've got food poisoning. You are a giant piece of shit, and you don't deserve to be in any Hall of Fame.
My thing is this. I concur with you, but I also feel like what kind of pain was that guy in order to do what he did? Like, it baffles the fucking mind. Like, how that much pain that he wants to cause, that much pain that he feels onto the two people that he loved, or at least one of them he loved, is just beyond me. I don't know. I don't know. That's why it's hard for me, because I don't know how to explain it without sounding like a fucking crazy myself or an asshole or anything else. So I'll save myself all that. The bottom line is, for me, when it comes to him being in the Fame, the man really did damage to pro wrestling on top of doing this terrible thing. The repercussions, the thing is, he didn't just do it to himself, as you said before. He did it to 2 other people and then the rest of the world. Because the ramifications of the actions. When you have an idiot like Nancy Grace who didn't know what the fuck she was talking about and attacked pro wrestling and, made it seem bad, and then you had a friend like, what the fuck is it? Bret Hart had to defend wrestling and had to defend his friend. And how do you feel being like Benoit's friend, and then he kills his family, and you're like, what the fuck? How conflicted do you have to be? How conflicted, because you're like, or family, friends and family, like people that he went on the road with, people who he, went over for Christmas with and everything like that, broke bread with. That affects you too, because you're like, wait a minute, this isn't the guy I know. I've known the guy for years. I went on the road with him. I've spent a lot of time with him. This is not who he is. And now he's dead. And now you have to explain your friend to somebody and they're going, no, that guy's a piece of shit. Fuck that guy. No, he's evil. When you know in your heart, like, this can't be right. You know what I mean? Like, how do you deal with that? And you have to go on Nancy Grace and have to sort of defend him, sort of not defend him. You don't know where you're at. You know what I mean? Because it's reactionary. And you're going to be defensive. People are going to say shit about people you love, and you're like, no, there's no way, blah, 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 blah. And it was still early in the game. Nobody knew what was really going on. And Nancy Grace, somebody like Nancy Grace and some of the other people who were in the media were in attack mode. Like, how, you know, so that's another big reason why wrestling was on the outs, is because what it was viewed as right out of the gate, right after he died and right after he killed, you know, and that always pissed me off with Nancy Grace. She went in half-cocked, and I just think that, and she didn't know a lot of information. And she did more damage than good, as far as I'm concerned.
Nancy Grace has always pissed me off anyway. I mean, you know, she could be reading a phone book and it would probably piss me off. That's just how it is. There's a few people in the world like that. You know, you just hate the sound of their voice and the tone that they have and the air about them. You know, like that fucking Chris Adams. That guy, I'm telling you what, he never lets us shine like we're shining tonight, KJ. You and me, we got this. And I bet you the whole time him and Dougie were talking about, you know, how wonderful and great Chris Benoit was and how he should be in the Hall of Fame. They weren't even thinking about the things that we're bringing. They weren't thinking about the deep and the dark places that we're going.
No, we're going deep and dark, man.
Deep and dark. I'm telling you, it's like that girlfriend that you don't talk about anymore because you were kind of embarrassed at the time. It's that deep and that dark.
Well, yeah, and let's face it, you know, I don't want to talk trash about Chris because he'll fire me. And wait a minute. Wait, do we get paid?
Huh?
Do we get paid for this?
Are you getting paid? Are you getting paid? Because I don't. I mean, I don't get paid.
Oh, then fuck Chris. Because I'm not getting paid either. Fuck that guy.
Yeah. Who does he think he is? Him and his hair plugs.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. He can land a plane on his head right now. Please.
Two of them.
I was just going to give him one, Mike. Jesus Christ.
Did you see him in that damn picture with the Sasha Banks glasses?
No.
I didn't think that there could be any more forehead attached to a pair of Sasha Banks glasses than the boss already has herself. And
so wait a minute. What you're telling me? Wait a minute. And what you're telling me is instead of going on Facebook, he should act like a billboard and maybe put Body Slam the Competition and all that information on his forehead and stand out on a major highway.
That could work. You know, I also made the suggestion that he should call up the WWE and pitch a line where he is the intergender tag team partner of Sasha Banks, and you could call it Forehead and Morehead.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my God. It would be the boss and the bus.
There you go.
Jesus, my God. There ought to be a law.
I'm telling you, he kind of reminds me of Butterbean's shorter brother, Pinto Bean.
Jesus Christ. I was just going to go Bean.
Oh, just Bean? Nah,
just Bean.
Nah,
because he's not big enough for butter.
If he's a bean, he's the Pinto of beans.
Oh, my fucking God.
You hit him hard enough in the rear end and he'll catch on fire.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Chris, if when you listen back, I had nothing to... Actually, I did. I wrote all his material. So
You started this. You started this with the hair plugs and
You're the one that was talking shit. What are you talking about? You're the one. If you go listen back, you're the one that started it, and I just kind of threw in the hair plugs because I wanted to be like the cool kids.
Don't try to turn this around on me. I'll come to your house in the middle of the night with a pillow.
Yeah, maybe I'll get some sleep. Thanks. Do me the favor.
Sleep? What the hell's that? Who has time for sleep? We have to come do this damn show that nobody pays us for.
Jesus Christ! I swear, man, we don't even get benefits. God
no.
damn.
There's no lattes. There's no lap dances. There's no beads for Mardi Gras. We can't see no boobies at Mardi Gras because damn Chris won't even give us any beads.
Well, listen to me. I'm afraid that because we're on such a tight budget, that he'll be the ones doing the lap dances and the beads. So really, we need to stop, okay?
I'm telling you, it'll be okay as long as we don't have to start bringing our own urinal cakes. I'm okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, then I'd rather do that than the bucket. I mean, geez, he doesn't even replace it.
I thought an operational restroom was part of a working environment that was required by law. Maybe not.
Not his law. Dude, he puts us under the child labor laws. I think we're supposed to be paid. Like, we're getting...
Well, in Chris's defense, the podcast actually has to make money before we can get paid, so I guess...
No, he's doing... I don't know. I think he's selling black market action figures. That's what I think.
No, you know what it is? I know what it is. He's going and he's buying those Russell Roos, and he's wearing them around, and then claiming that they're coming from a ladies' prison, and selling them on eBay. And you got all these poor perverts that love Hacksaw Jim. I can't even do it.
Why? You're reaching now, sir.
I can't even do it. But they love Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and they get their Hacksaw Jim Duggan Russell Roos, and they take a big whiff, and they wonder why it smells like Gold Bond powder, Astroglide, and shit.
And Ben Gay. Listen to me.
And Rogaine.
I told
him not to drink the Rogaine. It didn't work like that, but he didn't listen to me. And now his tongue is hairy.
I really wanted to eat after this podcast. I really did. And now I can't.
At the 5-minute mark, we have a caller. Let's see. Hello, caller. Welcome to Body Slam the Competition.
What do we got over here?
Oh, hey, it's Captain Hairplug.
A cup of haters?
Oh. You know what you sound like? Wait. You know what he sounds like when he says that? He sounds like the old man in Family Guy. All he needs is a little whistle.
There's no whistle coming out. Hey, look. I thought since you guys only had 5 minutes left, I had to call in and save the show. Y'all were struggling for material because you only threw insults at me for the last 15 minutes. So I thought, I need to help them out with something.
No. Don't. We're doing fine. What are you talking about?
And no, you're not getting
You just
paid.
had to come in so the show would tank, and you wouldn't have to accept the fact that you... We were on our way to being the highest-rated episode of Body Slam the Competition. And then here you stroll in with your boss glasses and the glare coming off your head and your hairy-ass tongue, wearing your model Rick Martel Russell Roos that you're getting want to sell on eBay.
I don't sell my Russell Roos.
Hey,
I'm not selling my Russell Roos. I wear them, okay? Stop saving them.
I know you do. Are you kidding me? Listen. He pointed out such a detailed description of you in your ruse that I can't eat now. I wanted to have a nice little snack.
Ruse too. You know that?
Oh my God! The only thing that's choking is anything is his balls.
I was going to say, what do they do? Do they smother the boys?
They do, yes. Yes. You know, I just wanted to call in and say you guys have had an excellent show. I got to listen to it while working. Thumbs up. Except for your smart remarks, which I'm docking your pay for.
Oh, great. Now we're going to make negative money. How can we make negative money?
Anyway. You guys, continue your last 30 seconds. Doing a great job. Catch you later.
Get the hell out of here.
Come on, go.
I just dropped him. I kicked him out. This is our show tonight.
Good for him. Hit the bricks there, Adams. Oh, my God. I swear. How do we owe money after this? Jesus.
He knows. He knows that he's the reason nobody listens. So he had to call in so at the very end our ratings would drop. They're like, oh, God. There's Chris Adams again. Oh.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Now, wait a minute.
The worst impression ever of Enzo. I swear, every time it's like nails on a chalkboard.
And you know what? Chris Adams, just for that, you just made the list.
Yep, you're damn right he did. He never gets on the list, so good. We get him on the list.
Tonight he's on the list. He's on the list.
Oh, boy. Right next to his ruse.
Yeah, the model Rick Martel Russell ruse. He'll be selling those at a premium.
Man. Oh, geez.
Talk about murder. Talk about murder. I mean, we've been talking about Chris Benoit. We got a couple minutes. We could talk about how the WWE murdered Rick Martel's career.
Well, yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? But listen, to be fair, what are you going to do with Rick Martel? He wasn't exactly lighting the world on fire in the AWA, and he certainly wasn't making the best transition. So what are you going to do? I just think the worst match they could have had was the blindfold match. I mean, really? That was terrible.
Give him some pink tights and a bottle of perfume and call it good.
Yeah, and he was a really damn good wrestler. He did what he could do with that stupid poodle perm that they gave him.
Oh my God!
What are you gonna do? Hey, whatever. Look what they did to Tito. Then again, fuck Tito. Hey Tito, that 150 is coming. Oh yeah, it is. Wait for it by your,
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's coming up on the end of the show here. We got about a minute left, and this is usually the point where Chris starts going on and on about go see us on the damn YouTube and follow us on the damn Facebook and fuck Twitter, and I think he's on Instagram. He might even have a Pinterest or some shit now. I don't know if he's on Vine. I don't know if he's got I don't know if he's got a Vine or anything going on because nobody really wants to see, videos of him drinking Diet Coke and eating Cheetos anyway.
He's even on Tinder. Just swipe right. Don't even bother swiping left. He's on Tinder. Ugh, that's terrible.
That's disturbing. I thought it was Grindr.
That's even worse.
It's another way for him to get his wrestle ruse out. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Body Slam the Competition. The best episode yet because it's me and Chuck. We'll see you next time. Unfortunately, Chris will be back. New Day rocks. Benoit's not getting in the Hall of Fame. Fuck you all.
Good night.
Good night.
Peace.